Die Internationale Gartenausstellung Berlin wird 2017 weit über die Stadt hinaus strahlen und voraussichtlich mehr als 2 Millionen Besucherinnen und Besucher aus ganz Deutschland und aus wahrscheinlich vielen Ländern der Welt auf das Ausstellungsgelände locken. Heute geht es vorrangig um die Vorstellung der neuen internationalen Gartenkabinette, die in den Gärten der Welt entstehen werden, um dort den Dialog der Kulturen zu verstärken. Und ich freue mich, heute die besten Landschaftsarchitekten von 5 Kontinenten hier in Berlin begrüßen zu dürfen.
Die Architekten, die wir gefunden haben, aus unserer Sicht die besten Architekten derzeit, die interessantesten Architekten der Welt, werden ihre eigene Interpretation, herrührend aus ihrer kulturellen Herkunft, auch darstellen in ihren Gartenprojekten. Insofern gibt es einen Dialog zwischen alt und neu und das macht die Sache sehr spannend.
My project for IGA is about process, really. It's about making something which starts from nothing. So we begin with an empty space, and then instead of building it all in a very short space of time, we build it over a period of 2.5 years. And we actually start with a packet of seed. And so the first thing we do is we make some vegetation, and then we insert other things into it, and we build up a kind of narrative, a little story. And I would like people to see this garden in their own terms and to have this very open idea about what it could mean. The construction of it is very simple. It has a wall and then like a bench or a bed and a steel bowl, and then it's surrounded by this meadow of wildflowers. But I think it will appear to be very suggestive in the way that in the beginning of a new opera you see a scene and you think, what is the action going to be? So it implies, it's a garden that implies some kind of action or some kind of history. In this case it's a rather grubby history.
The project's called Cultivated by Fire, and it's about the way in which the Aboriginal Australians manage the landscape by creating small fires so that the land can be rejuvenated from the ash that falls, and also so they can flush out animals and grow new grass after the fires. And it's also about how they were able to manage the landscape without having the devastating large fires that we see today in Australia.
It's a contemporary garden that's abstracting the main sensations, moods and elements of a Lebanese garden. Just clean lines and simple and represent our time. We didn't look at Lebanese forms or traditional layout, you know. So it's just few clean. Anyway, we were given a rectangle and we just created a room within a room.
The project is about what I think it is more important in my work is just to invite people to be connected with nature, and so it is about, it's called Under the Trees. It's just to invite them and to share what the meaning of being close to nature. Very simple, and that's what my work is all about, always.
Well, I think the modern aspect is that the vegetation is very intermingled, very complex, which is quite a sort of modern theme in a way. But we contrast that with all the built elements are very, very minimal and clean. So they're just made out of pure poured concrete, so they have no decoration on them. So I think it will gain its quality from this contrast between something which is highly complex and in flower and full of texture and variety and colour, and then something which is very, very simple and architectural and rather severe.
It's a small retreat. It's a small sunken garden that you would walk in for contemplation and being close to nature in a quiet place. And We just have few elements put together, like loose gravel, water, and several sitting areas in the garden, just to be a little bit at peace and away from everything.
Numa visão contemporânea, trazer pouco de projeto moderno, com uma brasilidade, com pouco do Brasil, e respeitando e dando recado para o respeito à natureza.
My message, look at this. This is my work. It's a look like a formal style of garden design, but Chinese garden is a look at nature. So this is a look like it's kind of a contradiction. So it's I just want to say this is another face of Chinese garden. I put it in the contemporary ways. That's just my issues.
I think that all the gardens should bring joy and also the imagination to the visitor.
Was ist die größte Herausforderung bei der Umsetzung dieser Gärten?
Wie immer sind es Kosten und Zeit, selbstverständlich, aber es gibt noch einen anderen Anspruch. Wir müssen ja das, was aus dem Libanon, aus Thailand, aus Chile kommt, auch auf unsere Art und Weise interpretieren, damit wir es gut bauen können. Einige Materialien gibt es hier möglicherweise gar nicht. Wir müssen sie von weit her auch heranschleppen, damit die Authentizität dieses eigentlichen Entwurfs auch beibehalten bleibt.
I don't think there's too many challenges. The nice thing of working in Germany is that you can get things done. So we're very excited about that. But I think there are some challenges, especially in terms of vegetation types, what we can use and what we can't use, the complexity of working in a different context that we're used to from a landscape point of view. So I think those challenges are interesting for us to deal with.
One of the really challenging things for us is about the plants that we can and cannot use, because Berlin has such a severe winter compared to many of the areas in Australia. But we are working with that so that we plant the plants on an annual basis rather than on a permanent basis. And then the other challenging thing is to be able to use the element of fire and how to do that so that it's safe.
If you think of the implementation of the garden, what's the most challenging thing?
The challenging things is how to balance between to keep our concept within this context, is in Berlin, not Thailand, but how we use all the material to deliver the message that we want to.
I think the most challenging thing is probably that we're starting off growing this meadow from seed, and it needs to be looked after very carefully. I probably wouldn't try and do that in any other country other than Germany, because I know that you're so good at looking after things. That's the idea anyway.
Es kommen viele Millionen Besucher aus Deutschland, aber auch aus allen Teilen der Welt hier nach Berlin. Und das ist also ein weiterer Höhepunkt, den Berlin dort vorbereitet. Und ich bin hier gerne hergekommen an dieser Stelle, weil ich schon langjährig Besucher der Gärten der Welt bin und mich über die Erweiterung der Gärten in dieser Qualität ganz enorm freue. Und was ich hier sehe, das begeistert mich. Das macht richtig Vorfreude auf 2017. Die Menschen freuen sich schon, glaube ich, auf die Internationale Gartenausstellung. Und es wäre schön, wenn nicht nur Besucherinnen und Besucher aus aller Welt und aus Deutschland hierher kommen, sondern auch viele Berlinerinnen und Berliner den Weg nach Marzahn-Hellersdorf zur IGA finden.